Sup weebs, before I do this little recording for you today, I just want to let you know about the promos. So I know they were really well received, but I want to make sure that everybody's really keen on seeing him come back. So that I said in my video against Razor, and I put it in the description of both of my videos, in regards to Razor in week 2, if I could get 20 likes on my match against Razor before I uploaded my team builder, then I would do a promo for Rob Jr. However, unfortunately, I wasn't able to receive it. You guys got like 17, which is really close, but these promos, they take actually a fair bit of time for me to do, and I want to know the effort is worth it. So next week I have Rizzy Power as my opponent. This is going to be at the front of both of my videos this week, so if you would like to see me do a promo on Rizzy Power, then don't forget to like the battle video that's coming up this week against Rob. Thanks, Jabrodies.
If you smell what the bird is barbecuing.
G'day Jabronis, it is the Verd here. Welcome to our Week 3 game for the NPL. Your Tampa Frogadiers up against the Gotham City Golurks and Rob Jr. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you, I have a webcam going on. By popular demand, people wanted to see it back. As you can tell from my voice though, I am a little bit under the weather, which is not ideal, it's less than ideal. But you know what, I really want to get this video out for you guys, because this is a match that a lot of people wanted to see happen in the NPL minors. Rob Jr. and I, we were both the two guys kind of dominating at that point. Mono and David were doing quite well too, but everybody was really keen for us in the final, and unfortunately it didn't happen. We never actually got the chance to play each other. Hacks either way would have meant we probably wouldn't have had the chance to play each other, but we got our chance now, and it's at a very pivotal moment of the season for both of us. So Rob, he's sitting higher than me on differential. I believe he's +3 and I'm just at neutral. So this is a really big game for us, because one of us goes 2-1, one of us goes 1-2, and that could be massive even at this early part of the season. And plus, there's a lot of pride at stake, because we were regarded the two best minors coaches that went up. Mono was also very good as well, but we were regarded probably as the two most in form heading into, the next season. So it was going to be interesting to see how he went in this game. Obviously, you've seen the team builder. If you haven't, I won't even put a link, because why haven't you watched it? If you're on my channel, you can easily go watch it right now. I'll let you watch it and then come back. But there is one thing I want to talk about in regarding to the team builder. The Umbreon set was changed slightly. As cute as the Curse set was, I chickened out on it because I was thinking about it, and there's no way in hell he brings Florges in this matchup. And it just isn't a very good bring. Plus, I would rather have a bit of a bulkier Umbreon to deal with as many things as possible. So as cute as the set was in design, I decided to just go with a Foul Play, Wish, Protect, Baton Pass set, which is a lot more solid. The Baton Pass is also cool because in some situations I can take advantage of things like Sizzle. Like if I do outspeed it, then I can go for the Baton Pass out to Arcanine with the Intimidate, get a shit ton of health back with that, and that could be really good. So yeah, that was basically the premise. But as you can see, the matchup here is looking very interesting. He didn't bring Roserade, which was really good because I didn't really want to deal with the hazards. And he didn't bring Sharpedo, which I thought was a little bit surprising. I felt Shark had a decent matchup against me, but each to their own. I guess he was expecting maybe something like Scarf Kartana, or just something of the sort to check it. But yeah, regardless, pretty solid team on his part though. He brought almost everything I expected. I wasn't too sure about Azelf and Jelly, but he brought them, so it's whatever. We're going to jump into this game though and get to this analysis stuff. So he leads Azelf, and my designated lead, like I said in this game, was my Scarfed Rotom, because looking at his team, I can click a Volt Switch turn 1. I wanted to click Shadow Ball. Actually, I think I do click Shadow Ball turn 1 because, as you can see from my opponent's team, he hasn't really brought any switch into Shadow Ball, because Mega Sharpedo is not there. So I click Shadow Ball turn 1 and reveal that I am Scarfed. He is sashed, he hangs on, he gets up his rocks, and at this point I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to switch or do whatever? And part of me expected him to want to switch out here into something like his Hippo or his Sizzle, but at the same time, getting rid of this Elf is really important, so I decided to go for Shadow Ball. It also lets me gauge what kind of Hippo I'm working with here, and it does a good amount, but it's looking more like it's a kind of mixed bulk Hippo. So I go out to my Kartana here, because I figure if he's going to go for Earthquake Speed, he actually goes for Whirlwind out to Umbreon, which is kind of bad, but it's not too bad at the same time. What I can just do here is fire off a Wish, because this will allow me to get a bit of health back and then go hard out to my Arcanine And the reason why this is okay is because obviously he can U-turn, takes a bit of chip with that Rocky helmet, and then it means the Wish will get me all the way back up to health. He goes after Thunderous, and this is a little bit scary on this turn. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and he straight up just goes for the Supersonic Sky Strike. Doesn't kill me, but I didn't really expect him to go for it. As you can see, I go for Flamethrower, and this is a bad situation for me. I figured what he would do on this turn, potentially, was go for a Nasty Plot. I didn't expect the Z-Fly straight out of the bat. It's one of those things you can't really predict around, and I was looking at my situation and how important Umbreon still was for things like, you know, Victini, Thunderous if it stuck around, and all that, so I figured, okay, I'll just gotta deal with this. And the one thing, though, that it did make me realize, unfortunately, was, oh shit, Arcanine is my Sizzle check, and now there is no way for me to get it back up to health. I don't have E-Speed either, so he knocks me out with T-Bolt, and I'm like, shit. But at the same time, Nihi can come in. He has no reason to switch there. Sorry, he has no reason to stay in, so I go for Rocks. I could have gone potentially for the... I didn't have HP Fire on this set, but if I had it, I could have gone for it. So it's an interesting play that he chose to get to Sizzle. I think Hippo would have been the smarter play on my opponent's part, but credit where credit's due, he made a decent play. I'm going to go hard out to Rotom because I don't want to risk a Bullet Punch play. Not going to be out as he does go for it. And this turn was a bit of a tricky one for me. I was in two minds. I really wanted to click HP Fire because Hippo could take two Shadow Balls, but at the same time I could really pressure Hippo at this point. Another thing I could have really done, and I think it would have been maybe one of the better plays in this situation, was I could have clicked Trick. Because if Hippo had come in, I would have locked it down, and if Sizzle had stayed in this situation, I would have really shut it down. Like, yes, it could have been able to outspeed some Mons, but it couldn't set up like SDs or anything like that, so it could have been a lot more nullified in this matchup. But unfortunately, I go for the middle ground play, which is really going to cost me. I go for the Shadow Ball. In hindsight, I definitely would have gone for HP Fire, because it might have knocked him out. But if I'd gone for the Trick there, I would have tricked him into Roost, which would have then forced him out to Hippo, and then I could have gone for my Shadow Ball play and pressured him from there and whatnot. Or I could have switched out, predicting him to switch, and then gone out to like Kartana and really pressured his team. So there are a lot of different plays I could have made there, and I honestly make the wrong play, and I realize that now I'm in a bit of a quagmire, because in this situation, my best play is just to spam Shadow Ball with Rotom and go for Spadef drops, because I can't go out to Umbreon because he's revealed U-turn. I can't go out to Kartana because he either just U-turns in my face, or he may have, like, you know, knockoff or superpower, so that's not worth the risk. I could go Zygarde. Zygarde could have been a play, but at the same time, I really wanted to preserve it as healthy as possible to beat the rest of his team. So I just decided, Rotom, you're staying in, you're spamming, and the interesting rolls there of 38.5 to 44.6, I realized that if I got a crit or a Spadef drop, I was in a really good spot against Rob here, because he was just constantly going for Roost. So if I could just get one or the other, like a crit or a Spadef drop, I would be in really good shape. But you know me, I don't really get those kind of things when I want them to. Rotom, because of the HP I put into it, is able to survive that. Unfortunately, I'm going to leave Scizor at about 56%, and this is where I make another misplay. I make a lot of misplays in this battle, guys. Just things that I look back on like afterwards and realize. Here, I really panicked against the Scizor, because I knew that this set could basically sweep my entire team. I knew I had to go for my Z move here and knock him out. Not realizing, like, obviously if I was banded, I would just be able to knock out the Scizor anyway, so it was safer just clicking arrows to kind of scout what Scizor did, more or less, because arrows plus then Z 1000 arrows would knock him out, depending on how physically bulky he was. But I make a bad play here and go for my Z move as the Zelf sacks itself, which is just bad. I really shouldn't have done that, as he's able to go to Hippo for free now. And I figure what he'll actually want to do here is potentially go for the EQ. Yeah, so I decided to go for the DD because I can then fire off 1000 arrows, chip this Hippo down, and then force him into the Whirlwind, but he actually slacks off. And that's kind of annoying, but at the same time, I'm going to spam arrows because I figure eventually he's going to Whirlwind me, and if he goes out to Kartana, it's really nice. But of course, it never goes out to Kartana. It goes out to Umbreon, which is just, you know, fantastic. But I go for a foul play because I assume he'll either slack off or attack me. I kind of want to gauge how much damage he does. He doesn't really do that much at all. I also wanted to foul play to catch maybe Sizzle trying to come in for free, as he does slack off again. And I'm going to take this opportunity to just click foul play again, because I figure he may want to go for Whirlwind, and Kartana's inside. And I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Kartana being inside is really, really good for my team. I'm going to SD up in his face, because I assume he's going to slack off predicting my moveset, and that means I can fire off the freest Leaf Blade. What I could have done in hindsight there was gone for sub, but the reason why I didn't, that Curse Body didn't, I mean, it kind of sucked, but it didn't really matter too much. The reason why I could have subbed but I chose not to was because in that situation, if it was a physically offensive gelatin, it still could have taken on the Zygarde, and if I had gone for sub and Hippo had gone for the Whirlwind, it was such a wasted play. Like, it could have been really good if I'd gone for sub and he went out to Jelly, but in the long run, it was smarter for me to go for Leaf Blade and take out the immediate threat there. Plus, if you went hard into Scizor, it was much better going for +2 Leaf Blade and then Sacred Sword, because that would knock out Scizor. So, overall, it was better. He goes Teeny. Now, I know Sacred Sword doesn't knock this out. Oh, sorry, I don't have Sacred Sword, I have Return. But yeah, Leaf Blade plus Return would have knocked out Scizor too, from that range, because Kartana's a monster. But Victini comes in, and at this point, I'm like trying to suss what kind of Teeny he is. I'm fairly confident that he is actually a Choice Scarf Victini, but what I can do quite safely here is go Nihilego, because I either take whatever attack he goes for in that situation, or what I do is I am able to, if he is Scarfed, I can take any hit, because he won't go for Psychic against Kartana. And if he is, you know, some other item, I outspeed Victini, then I can just knock it straight out. And I have the Pyapa Berry locked and loaded, so we're all Gucci. So I figure what he's going to do here maybe is go Hippo. I really wanted to click Grass Knot on this turn, but on the off chance he wasn't Scarfed, again, it's a thing where you just need to get rid of the threat. And Victini's a threat, so I need to get rid of it. But he makes the pretty safe play into Hippo. I didn't play as aggressive as I wanted to in this game, but Hippo comes in. At this point of the game, I knew the play that I had to do was click Grass Knot, because by clicking Grass Knot it opened the door for Zygarde. I could Grass Knot the Hippo, do a tremendous amount. I would have done about like 60 to 65 maybe %, but that would have been enough to put it into potentially Zygarde range, or even Umbreon Foul Play range at that point, potentially. And if that was the case, then I could have really worn him down and opened the door for Zygarde, because obviously at this point Zygarde's E-Speed is knocking out Thundurus. At +1, it gets very close to knocking out Victini, depending on the spread that it is. And then obviously at +1,000 waves, 1,000 arrows will do a lot to any Sizzle spread. So I knew that Grass Knot was my play, but he actually makes a decent play here and goes out to Thundurus. It was an interesting play for sure, but he does end up making it. And I've got a bit of a tricky decision of, you know, what I want to do here with Nihilego, because obviously I could go out to Umbreon or whatnot to kind of predict things. What I actually choose to do is make a ballsy kind of play into Zygarde, predict him to want to drop a T-Bolt, because it's probably his best way to attack me, but he actually reveals Superpower. I wanted to preserve the Nihilego for the late game, because I figured if he's a Scarf Victini, Nihilego might come in handy, being able to take a hit from Scarf Victini, and it could come in clutch. So I figured that Zygarde was more expendable than Nihilego. Thundurus goes down here, and we're at an interesting point. He goes out to Hippo, and at this point with Zygarde, I realized that my best play is just kind of spamming moves. There's not really much else I can do. I actually decided to go hard Kartana though, predicting the slack off here, as he actually EQs. I didn't really expect him to EQ, but he does EQ. And this is the time where I just click Leaf Blade, and it does 70%, guys. That's ridiculous. Kartana's a monster. So my Stalic Berry pops, which is unfortunate. And I just knock him out with Leaf Blade here, which is fine. So in this situation, obviously Scizor is able to knock me out with BP, which sucks. So now it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this all plays out. So I choose to go out to my Zygarde here. In hindsight, this was kind of a misplay, but at the same time I don't think it was. Because the way I was looking at this game was, okay, this game's pretty much over, because what I could have done there is gone Umbreon, because obviously Umbreon can go for the Foul Play. But my reasoning why I didn't want to go for Umbreon there was because I was like, maybe Foul Play doesn't kill the Scizor, and that's a problem. What I kind of wanted to do, guys, was I wanted to bait the Scizor into wanting to go for Swords Dance, because if I go for 1,000 arrows with Zygarde here, it puts Scizor in range of Foul Play Umbreon. So he basically had the match won, I think, if he had gone for Roost. But obviously the issue with going for Roost here is if I DD, he puts him in a really tricky spot. So he kind of has to be forced into SDing up to counter my DD so that Bullet Punch knocks me out. Unfortunately for him, this is now going to be able to put him in range of killing me. But there is one last hope on this team. You guys remember that in my team builder, I put 16 Speed EVs into my Umbreon. The reason being was so that if he ran like a little bit of speed Scizor, I would be able to outspeed it, because the premise was nobody really expects a lot of speed in Umbreon. If anything, you expect maybe 4 speed investment, nothing too fancy. And so I kind of tried to play on that, was the fact that like if I was Rob, I would maybe chuck in 8 speed EVs on my Scizor. Like, nothing that crazy, just to counter that Umbreon. And it turns out that's exactly what he did. He actually didn't put enough speed EVs in his Scizor, which means, guys, Umbreon outsped, Foul Play knocked out Scizor, and that was crazy. So that now means that he has a Scarf Victini, I believe, at least at this point. Even if it isn't, if it's not Scarf, like I said, Nihilego's there, knocks it out. There's no move Victini can go for here that knocks me out, unless maybe it's like a Specs Focus Blast, but even then Nihilego takes that and outspeeds. If he's Charty Berry, he can't kill me in one shot with anything unless it's like a crit Focus Blast, and then it's like, I'm pretty sure Sludge Wave would still knock out Teeny. So the game is ours, and I'm like, okay, this will be an easy 2-0 win, but of course, he gets a burn, and that's just annoying, because that means that Victini doesn't get knocked out, and it means he gets better differential, which is, or not better differential, it's better for him. He doesn't lose as much, which is kind of annoying. Like, I would have liked to have, you know, won that 2-0, but you know, I don't care, we won. And there are people that will say that there was a choke there by Rob with the Scizor not clicking Roost. I want to defend him for that point. Like I said, the problem with that play is that if you try and be passive with Scizor and just go for the Roost there on Zygarde, and I be aggressive and click DD, then it means Scizor might be at like max health, but then I'm at +1. And you saw that, let me just go back to how much it was actually doing at the time to the Scizor. 1000 Arrows was doing 35% without any boost. So if I DD up, then 1000 Arrows is easily doing over half. And Scizor has to hit 2 bullet punches to knock me out. So from that damage, we know that there's a potential chance, depending on if he has any attack investment in Scizor, that the combination of Zygarde's 1000 Arrows plus Umbreon Foul Play would have still knocked out his Scizor, regardless of how he played around those turns. Obviously, like, yes, in that situation, if I had clicked 1000 Arrows and he clicked Roost, he probably would have won the game. Like, I'm a big man, I can accept that. But at the same time, you know, we both made some pretty bad plays. Like, I made a lot of very bad plays. I just played way too conservative. I think if I had played a bit more aggressive, I probably would have taken a lot more of a stranglehold in the match. But regardless of what happened, guys, the important thing is that we were able to pick up our win. And we now go to 2-1 in the NPL with a +1 differential. Could have been +2 at the end there, but I'm not going to complain. A win is a win, and we will take it right now. So we're actually sitting pretty good in our division. We're sitting kind of smack bang in the middle, but I don't mind it. We're not like losing right now, which is great. We've got a big challenge next week against Rizzy Pow and the Phoenix on Floras, who are currently 2-1 as well. Really big game for us, because if we can beat them and go to 3-1 and then have all these other teams at 2-2, puts us in a really strong spot, I feel, for the season. It's going to be a tough matchup, but the last thing I do want to talk about, guys, is some transactions that were made by the Tampa Bay Frogadiers to round out this week. So I know a lot of you guys enjoyed me using this one, but I have decided to drop it. I decided to drop Tentacruel as well as Claydol to pick up Starmie. So unfortunately, we are losing Booker T the Claydol, and we are losing, what did I call the Tentacruel? What the hell was the name of the Tentacruel? It's Ty Dillinger, because it was a perfect Tentacruel. Dropping Tentacruel as well, and we are picking up Sexy Star, the Starmie. So very excited for that, because Starmie just gives me a new higher speed tier 115, which is really, really solid. Obviously helps out Mega Pinsir really well and all that, but I will say this, that Mega Pinsir, as it stands, is not going to be my Mega for much longer. There is a big change coming, ladies and gentlemen. There is a change on the horizon, and I think it's going to be good for us. I've talked with a few people about it, and there's going to be another change after the Rizzy Power game, but I think better rounds out my team and will put us on the right path for the end of this season. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, slap a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe down below. All that good stuff. I really do appreciate the support, guys. But as you know, my name is Verd, and I'm out this bitch.